Okay, let's start this session. So far, yesterday we had seen, how to create your first LWC component, right? So there might be a lot of issues still with, configuring the VS Code and deploying the things. Okay, so you have to practice a couple of times. If there is any issues in the sense, try to connect in the Q&A. We will try to fix those things. Okay. So how you will be creating, this is just a refresher, how you will be creating, your first component. You will be open VS Code. You'll be going for, create a project with manifest, and then you will be authorizing an org, create a lightning web component, manifest. I'm going to do it once again, at the start of this session to just refresh things. Okay. So this is an empty VS Code, and nothing is there. I'm going to create a SFDX project. I will be going for create a project with manifest. I will explain the difference. Create a project with manifest. At the bottom of my screen, you could able to see, initially, activating an extension. An extension will be activated and the project will be get ready to start. So meanwhile, I have already, opened a existing project, no LWC component, nothing is there. To save the time, I have created already a project. Okay, so it will take little bit time to create the project, to configure the things. So let it create. Meanwhile, this is how a new project will looks like. Okay, no more LWC component, nothing is there, just simply a project. When you are trying to create a project, initially you will be trying to save the project in your folder. It will be saved in the folder. So that's what how we'll be starting, right? So if you look at it, in the left hand side, there is a folder called manifest. Okay. So if you expand this, you could able to see there is a file called package.xml. This is what the difference between create a project with manifest and simply going for create a project. Okay. Is it really going to helpful for you, as a beginner in the beginning stage? No, you are not at all going to use this anyhow. Let's see what all are the contents available with this package.xml. Let me open it. So this is called the meta configuration. You can call it as a meta configuration. Suppose if I'm going to connect this particular project with an org, these all are the Apex classes, Apex component, these all are the elements I can able to pull from my org to my local system. Okay, so you will be connecting with your org, right? How you will be connecting with your org? Control Shift P, you will be going for authorize an org, right? So let me authorize an org first. Here, when authorizing the org, you have the options project default, production, sandbox, custom. Okay, sandbox in the sense, this is a copy of your production org. Let's say you have a production org. From the production, you are creating a sandbox. It is a kind of, a playground for your, for your projects. You can create the objects, you can create the components. This is a sandbox. Generally, the sandbox may have the copy of data from production. Okay, the production copy of the data might be there in the sandbox. So you will be doing all the things with the sandbox. Once you feel that everything is fine, you will be pushing it into your production. So initially your development will happen in the sandbox, and after that you will be pushing the things into the production. So generally, if you want to log in into your sandbox, you will be having an option called test.salesforce.com. The login URL will be test.salesforce.com. So when you look at this is http login.salesforce.com. So production and sandbox, in the login URL itself, you can able to see the difference. As a developer, I'm not being part of any company. I'm just learning the things. Okay. Probably you may not have the sandbox in your hand. So you will be having the production environment. That is, you have created a free developer account with Salesforce. So that is called the production, as far as, the development stage is concerned. Because you are a beginner, you are not being part of the company, you don't have any sandbox. So you will be treating the developer org as your production org. Your sandbox in companies, they used to create the sandbox from the production, they used to give it because it's a licensing involved. Custom. Okay, is it possible to log in with, Salesforce with a custom URL other than login.salesforce.com? Yes, if you are going to create a scratch org, still you can able to see there is a custom login URL will be created. We will see that. Okay, so now you are feeling that I am a developer, I don't want to disturb my, developer org. Still I wanted to have my own, my own space to create and test my, my custom component. If that is the case, you will be going for a scratch org. Okay, Let's see what will be the scratch org step by step. First, I'm going to authorize my org. I'm going for project default. Okay. It is going to give an alias name. Here comes the next question. Okay. A lot of questions I used to take, like whether we have to authorize each and every time. For a single project, if you are going to connect with a single org, there is no need to authorize each and every time. First time when you are going to create the project, if you are going to push the things first time, in the sense you will be authorizing an org. Next time the org information will be stored with the project. Whenever you are going to store your VS code, automatically the org information will be available with your VS code projects. Okay, so there is no need that each and every time you have to authorize with the same org. Okay, so it is asking for an alias name. What is the purpose of giving an alias name? The alias name makes it easy for me to differentiate between n number of orgs. Suppose I have authorized in a single project, you might have tested with your sandbox, and after finishing testing the things with the sandbox, you will be pushing the LWC component to your production environment. So there are two orgs involved. One is the sandbox and another one is the production. If that is the case, you will be connecting with both the things. Okay, so that's why to differentiate the things, you need to have, it is better to give you a name. It will be easy for me to identify which is my sandbox, which is my production environment. So that's why we used to give alias name for this. So this is my playground org. Let me give a name, playground org. Okay, so this is org I specially created for this session, so I am going to give it as a playground org. Once I clicked, it will start to authorize an org. So meanwhile, what will happen behind the scene? Okay, when it is saying that running sfdx authorize an org, behind the scene a Salesforce CLI command will be running. Okay, so when you are trying to install Salesforce CLI, you saw that you have installed Salesforce CLI, you went and you see sfdx, something is happening there. After sfdx installation, what will happen? Sfdx consists of a set of commands. These set of commands will enable you to push the things or to connect with your Salesforce org. So even though if you are going to use the VS code to do all the things, your VS code will behind the scene make use of the Salesforce command line interface to connect with your Salesforce org, to bring the things or to push the things. Everything is happening through this Salesforce org. So let it authorize an org. So when I try to authorize an org, automatically, the browser will open. How this browser automatically open? Everything is being part of the Salesforce CLI command. So behind the scene, a Salesforce CLI command is running and it is trying to open my browser. The same Salesforce CLI command you can directly use without VS Code. So without VS Code, you can directly, go and you can, execute your Salesforce CLI command. Then what is the purpose of VS Code? VS Code makes life easy. There is no need for me to memorize the Salesforce CLI commands. So that's why I'm going for VS Code. Okay, fine. So now I'm going to log in. So this is my playground username and password. Let me click this. Let it authorize. Okay, successfully authorized. So if it is successfully authorized, in the sense you could able to see it is authorization org has successfully completed. Okay, so I have successfully authorized with an org. Okay, so if you have a look at this at the bottom, you will be having a couple of tabs called terminal, problems, output, debug console. Lot of things are there. So the terminal, in the sense, nothing but in your system you might be using command prompt. If it is a Windows, you will be using the command prompts, right? You will be using CMD. This command prompt is called as a terminal here inside the VS Code. Okay, so this command prompt is called as terminal. This command prompt is called as a terminal here. What all are the commands you could be able to execute here? All the commands you can execute in the terminal itself. Okay, so that's what terminal. In the terminal, I have authorized the org. At the bottom, you could be able to see playground org. It is connected. At the bottom, you could be able to see, I guess. Okay, it is connected. Let me go sfdx. Okay, this is what the CLI commands. I am starting with the first CLI command. I'm going to execute a Salesforce CLI command. So how the command will start? It will start with sfdx. I'm going for force org list. I'm going to press enter. Okay, let's see what this Salesforce CLI command does. What I did was I just authorized an org. That's it. Now my application connected with my org, I could able to see the org in the left hand side. Meanwhile, a detailed information I could able to get by running this Salesforce CLI command. You see here, once I'm done with this Salesforce CLI command, this Salesforce CLI gives me a list of orgs I have connected with this particular project. Okay, so with this particular project, so far I have connected with a single org. I could able to see here, see alias playground org. So that's what the name I had given. And username. What is the username I have used to connect with this org? Each and every org will have an ID. You could able to see the ID here. And in the right hand side, you see connected status is connected. So that's why I could able to see playground is connected here. Okay, so if you have 5 orgs connected with your, with your Salesforce project, let's Salesforce, LWC project, or let's say you have connected with Sandbox as well as production, you could able to see all the things here, all the list of org you can able to see in the command line by giving sfds force org list. And this is the interesting part. You could see whether you have a connection still established with this, with it or not. So once if you are logged in into the system, automatically it will log in. Okay, so probably this might give you a clue that what all are the orgs you have connected with your project so far, what all are the orgs you have still, established the connection. So these kinds of list you could be able to get it from this command. This command will be, will do a lot of help little bit later in the sessions or in the upcoming classes. We will see this. Okay, suppose if I want to clear this screen, in the sense you can able to give cls. Okay, clear screen, your screen will be cleared. If I want to get the previous command in the keyboard, if you press the up arrow in the keyboard, if you press the up arrow, you could able to still see the commands, what are the commands you have issued in the terminal. Okay, fine, let's move on. I have created a simple project, and using the simple project, the next step I did was I have authorized. Now if I go to the view and command palette, you could able to see a lot of options are there. Okay, so next what you will be doing, you will be going to, you will be going to create an lwc component. Before going to create an lwc component, let's have a look at this vs code still. Okay, at the bottom I could able to see, playground org, this is connected. If I click there, here also you could able to see what all are the orgs you have connected and its alias. Suppose this is your sandbox, you are connected, your testing is done. Now it is time to push the things to your production environment. If that is the case, if you have connected with your production org, that is also will be displayed here. If you selected that org name, automatically it will be connected, the vs code will be now connected with your production org. Now if you deploy the things, automatically everything will be deployed into your production. Is very easy using the, vs code. Otherwise in the Salesforce CLI, in the sense you have to issue all the commands manually one by one. So sometimes it's very difficult or very hectic to keep the things in mind. Still we used to, know a couple of commands. In so many areas it will be very handy, but always it is better to have the editor. So that's why we are going for, vs code, to make life easy for us to build a component. Okay, fine. So I have authorized an org, so this part is also done. Okay, so let me go to this. I have authorized an org, that this part is also done. So I have to go for lightning component. Before that, see here in the left hand side, this is extensions. If I come down, I can able to see there is an option called org browser. I can able to see org browser. What all are the components available with your org? Existing lightning component, existing aura component, vf page, apex class, flow, process builder, workflow rule, custom label, custom setting, everything you can able to see here using this org browser. If I click this org browser, now what will happen, your vs code will try to connect with the org which you have authorized. I have authorized playground org here. Now what will happen, when I select this org browser, this org, this connected org will try to push the things. Now you could see what all are the things available in my org, which is a playground org I have created. I could able to see all the components in the left hand side. Okay, if I want to go for your process builder or custom label, custom settings, or if you want to go for your objects, you can able to see everything here, page layouts, all the things are there. If you want to pull the things local, If you want to pull the things, local in the sense, if you want to get the data from your Salesforce or to your local machine, simply you can right click and you can able to pull the things. Okay, you can see everything is there. Visual Force pages, workflows. If you have a workflows, you could able to see. So if once you expand these things, automatically it will try to again connect the data and it will try to pull the data. Okay, let me expand this and see what all are the workflows I have. If I have any workflows, I could able to see the things here. Okay, so so it is open. There is only one workflow rule. I could able to see case. If I select this and right click, okay, if I select this, no need to right click. If I select this in the right hand side, I could able to see there is a download button is here. If I click the download button, now automatically the entire the workflow related with cases will be downloaded to my local system. I could able to see it here in the local system. So that's what the advantage of having a org browser. So now the problem here is I have to go to the org browser. I have to pull one by one data to my local system. Why I am pulling the things from my from my org to my local system? Because more development needs to be done. Let's say already an LWC component done by someone else. Now you are going to join in the company, now asking you to do some modification in the LWC component. What you will be doing? You will be simply creating an SFDX project. You will authorize your sandbox or production, whatever it may be. You will be authorizing the org. And do you think that you will be having the code in your hand? No, the code is in your org. So now how you will bring the code to your local system? If you have the local system, if you have the code in your local system, then only you can able to modify the code and you can able to push it, right? So to do that, to bring the already existing LWC component or the workflow rule flows, whatever it may be, to the local system, you will be going for the org browser. There I have to choose one by one. But as far as this manifest file is concerned, see here, there is a manifest folder. If you create a project with manifest, you will be having a folder. Inside the folder, there is a package.xml. If I right click here, I could see an option at the bottom called retrieve source in manifest from org. Retrieve source in manifest from org. What it means is it's simple. In the org browser, you are pulling the things one by one locally to the local system. Okay, here what all are the things you want to pull? Everything will be available in the form of meta file. Everything is available in the form of a package XML file. Okay, if I right click and pull, in the sense, if I right click and if I go for retrieve source in manifest from org, I will definitely see this Apex class, Apex component, Apex pages, what all are the tags I have specified here with the name, attributes. All the components will be pulled from my Salesforce org and it will be now available in my local system for further developments. So that's why you are going for create a project with manifest. Otherwise you have to create the manifest file by manually, and you have to do the things. To avoid the things, always it is better to go with project with manifest. As a beginning level, definitely you're not going to play anymore around with this. Okay, because we are in the beginning stage. Okay, so there is no LWC component left. We haven't created anything. It's completely blank. Just we have authorized an org. So next step, what you will be doing? You will be creating a project. Okay, that is done. So you are going for creating a lightning web component. Okay, so it is asking me to give a component name. I'm going to give hello here. Okay, immediately it is asking where you want to save this component. By default it will be inside force directory, main default LWC. I'm going to keep it as it is. Okay, I'm going to press enter. Now what will happen? An LWC component will be started to create. This is called boilerplate code. What is meant by boilerplate code? Already some pre-built-in codes are there. Everything will be available for you for further development. Okay. So a boilerplate code is there. A component gets created. A LWC component gets created. In the LWC component, I am looking at the file structure. There is a folder gets created for my component. My component name is hello. So by default, a particular folder gets created. Inside that, I could able to see my HTML, my JavaScript, and a meta file. As you might aware, in the meta file, you have to do some configuration to make your component available in the home pages and lightning pages. Don't delete all the codes here. Just you have to make it is exposed is equal to true. Okay, you are going to expose your component. That is the first step. Next step, just copy these targets and paste it here. Don't overwrite all the code existing. Just insert. Okay, just insert. That's it. Now, if you're trying to push the component, your component will be available in home page. Your component will be available with the app page. It will be available with the record page. That is the purpose. We are going to change the meta file. Now here comes the next question, whether I have to change each and every time. Yes, when you are going to create a new LWC component, you have to configure the meta file. That is a one-time work for each and every component. You have to do it. Again, on what basis you will be deciding whether I have to give all the tag? No. If you think that my component is going to reside only in the home page, in the sense, no need to have these kinds of tags. This is fine. Only home page is fine. If you think that my component is exclusively built for Lightning app page, this is fine. My component I'm going to build only for use as a custom component in Salesforce flows. Okay, I am having the specific tag for that. That is the purpose of having meta file right over here. Okay, fine. So there is a CSS file. So we previously saw that LWC component consists of HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. There is no CSS. If you want to create a CSS, first you have to select this folder. This folder is get selected. At the top, I can able to see a new file option there. I'm going to click it. Okay. So now there is a file will be get created. I'm going to give the name hello.css. Okay. Now, you could able to see a CSS file is there, HTML is there, JavaScript file is there. You have to keep it in mind. You have to select the folder, and after selecting the folder, you have to go for plus new file. Otherwise, chances are there this file might be created somewhere else. Okay, the hierarchy or the order of the file structure might be go in a different way. If you choose this particular layouts and if you go for plus, the file will be gets created. At any point of time, you could be able to add a new file to your LWC component like this. Now comes the Lightning component. So you have simply done welcome here, right? So what happened when you give a welcome there? If you give the welcome there, there is no background, nothing, simply a black color text happen. Now I am going to, use a particular tag. Okay, a particular tag to make this little bit looks beautiful. Okay. So lot of Lightning tags are there already pre-built. Salesforce has a lot of Lightning tags. We will see one by one. First tag we are going to see is Lightning card. Okay, I could be able to see automatically. If I start LIGHT, I can able to see all the automatic things. Okay, because this is the IntelliSense editor, automatically closing tag came. So each and every tag will be closed. Lightning card, there is a close. Okay, this is a Lightning card. For this card, I'm going to give you a title. Okay, I'm going to give you a title. Okay, welcome demo. I'm giving a title. Inside this, I'm going to put my welcome screen. Okay, inside this I'm going to put my welcome screen. This is fine. Now it is time to push the things to my org. So again, you are going to the command palette. You are going to deploy this source to org. Okay, you created your project with manifest, you authorized an org, you create your Lightning web component. Now you are going to deploy this source to org. So let me deploy this source to org. Okay, so some issue is there. Okay, so it says that CSS cannot be empty. The CSS cannot be empty. See here, the CSS file, it is empty. Let me just give a simple, here. I will explain this a little bit later. Don't worry about that, or otherwise just give, dot h1. Okay. Give a simple h1, and let me try to give color black. Okay. So let me give you a simple, style there. You don't look at this. I will explain it step by step as CSS. What is CSS? This file cannot be empty, so that's why I'm making something in the CSS file. Now I am trying to push it again. Okay, deploy this source to an org. Deploy this source to an org. Let the component to be pushed into the org. I haven't used CSS so far here. Okay, fine. Let me go for body. Let me try to do the body. Okay. So meanwhile, let me make it as body color white. Okay, fine. Now try to push again, deploy the source to org. Okay, now I could see my component successfully deployed to my org. Now you have to open your org two ways. You know already what is your authorized org. You can straight away go to the browser and you can open the org. Otherwise, in the left hand side, you could able to see an icon. If you click there, automatically your org will be open. But I have already my org open here. So this is the org I am trying with this. So let me try to edit the page and see whether my component is available or not there. My component is hello. So that's what my component. So let me have a look at it. My component is available or not. I could able to see my component here. Okay, I could able to see my component here. To test the component, what you have to do, you have to drag and drop here. And another point of another point you have to keep it in your mind. This is the page layout you have created, right? This is the called page sections. You have created two columns page setup, right? In the two columns page setup, if you want to drag and drop your component, you can drag. If I pushed it here, the color is getting changed. If I dragged it over, I haven't released my mouse, still I am holding on it, I could able to see some highlight is there. It is highlighting. It is highlighting. If I move it here, see there is a red color cross is there. It means that you cannot place your component here. So you have to keep it in mind. Don't release your mouse button. Please hold on to it. Once the color gets changed, from the red color cross into this particular this color variant, now you can able to release this. Okay, now see there, I can able to see my component right over here. I could able to see my component right over here. I'm going to save it. First time when you are going to save it, in the sense it will ask you to activate the page. Please go ahead, click everything, okay, and assign org default also. Now this particular component will be available. Okay, let me save this, go back to the page. Okay, go back to the page. Now I can see, instead of having a simple, black color text, now I could see able to see a decent, black color white box is there. I could able to see the box there. How comes this particular box? Because in the HTML file, you have specified lightning card. What is the purpose of having a lightning card? This is called a lightning card. It will create a box for you, lightning card. What is the title I have specified here? I have specified title welcome demo. So you could able to see this particular, box with the title top of it. Next, inside the particular, tag, what I have specified? I have specified welcome. Now, if you have a look at this component, welcome is there, but this welcome is, there is no gap between, the margin and your text. Okay, so because we haven't applied any style so far, so this is how, you can make use of the built-in tags and you can able to style the things. Okay, now here comes the next question. Suppose I want to delete this component. How I can able to delete this component? I don't want this component no more in my org. How I can able to do that? Okay, I have by mistake and I have created the component. I have pushed it. I wanted to get rid of that. Let the code as it is, but I don't want the component, in my org. If that is the case, go to your home and go for lightning. Go for lightning. If you selected the option lightning, you could able to see lightning components at the bottom in the left hand side. Click that lightning component. Okay, now in the right hand side, you could able to see your lightning component, your pushed component. Here I could able to see my pushed component, that is hello. If I want to delete, in the sense there is an option called delete, you can simply delete your component. But deleting a component does not mean that your code will be deleted. Your code will be there in your system. Okay, so what will happen is the component will be removed from your org. If you want to modify something again, if you want to repush, in the sense you can repush your component again back in place. Okay, so this is how you can able to delete the components. Okay, fine. Next concept. Okay, I'm going to change the things. These are the basic things. So I'm going to change welcome to LWC session. I'm modifying the things. Once if I modified and I saved it, my modification will not be there. You have to push each and every changes to your org. So after some changes, if you are going to do, in the sense, again, you have to go for deploy this source to org. So whenever you are going to do some changes, Sai Mohan, I will take your queries, once this flow gets over. Okay. So now my, see here, my changes gets deployed. Now I am coming here. If I try to refresh this page, like I'm trying to see the, the changes by refreshing the page. I could able to see refresh the page, but to make the changes immediately available by having a refresh, you have to configure the settings. You have to configure a settings. Okay, so far if you are trying to do some changes, you are pushing it in the sense, again you will be going for edit page. Okay, you will be drag and drop the component, or you will be refreshing the edit page, then only the changes will be reflect. But without doing that process, simply by refreshing the page, if I want to changes in the sense, again you have to go here, one more settings, you can go for a debugging. There is an option called a debugging. So you have to go for a debugging. Okay, so debug mode. In the lightning components, you are seeing an option called debug mode. I'm going to select this debug mode. You could be able to see all your org users list right over here. Here you see here, in my username I have enabled this debug mode. Okay, so you could select the username here from the checkbox, and then there is an option called enable. You can enable this. This means that you are enabling a debug mode for this particular user. It means that the components catch will not work anymore. It will not catch anything anymore. So probably to improve the performance, you have to catch the things. The things will be catched. The page you visited, the component you visited, it should be catched. Then only the performance will be increased. But you are in the development stage. You are a developer. You don't bother about, the developing stage performance. Just you wanted to, check how the components looks like. So how fast I can able to test it. If that is the case, you can enable this debug mode here. Once you enable the debug mode, immediately you could able to see at the top of the system, you could able to see, what is the total size of the cache memory. You can able to see this. If these icons you are able to see at the top, means yeah, your debug mode is enabled for this user. If the debug mode is enabled for this particular user, I could able to see the changes immediately by refreshing this page. So if you want to refresh in the sense, immediately refreshing the page, if you want to see the changes here, you have to do these settings. But don't do this in the production org, because it will severely hit the performance issue. Okay, so it is always better to do it with your, always better to do it with your sandbox, or it is better to do it with your scratch org. Don't do these settings in your production environment. Your performance will be lost. Okay, so this is how you can able to refresh the components so fast. Okay, any doubts here? Creating the component, pushing the things, deleting the component, changing the, doing the changes, again pushing the things, settings.
I have a question.
Yes,
If we
please
are
go ahead.
if we are in an actual environment, which is a production org, do we push directly to production from VS Code?
Yes, you can directly push to your production environment, but that is not advisable, because you are not sure how your component will behave, right? If you are pushing the things in the production, in the sense, who will use the production? Not the developers. Ultimately, it is the end user, or it is the customer who is going to use the production environment, right? That is the live environment.
Yeah.
So we will never push the things to the production directly, even it is a simple process builder, or even it is a simple flow or workflow, whatever it may be. We never go for production directly, because it is a live environment. Your component may damage the data, or it may not behave the same way. It may get irritated with the customers, right? Clients. So we will never go for, directly production. So we have a playground that is called a sandbox or scratch, or we will do the things, and then only we will be taking the changes to your production. Okay.
Regarding the disable option, Nagarajan, okay,
Yes.
so I think we have option in meta XML as well, right? That instead of true or false, something you can disable, right? From
Yes. Initially, I
And
don't want to mess it up the things with so many configurations. People might be
okay,
confused. There is
but
a
we have option
JSON.
in the LWC component itself, right?
Yes. There is a JSON. There is a HTML, XML file. Okay, probably they might think that, this could be a tough, tough area to
Okay,
learn.
because I
So
could see
don't
that
want
option.
to
Okay,
bring
got
that
it.
picture.
No. Okay, got it. And another
Yeah.
last question.
Yes.
So once we implemented this, Hello LWC component, so
Mhm.
until unless we push to the org, it doesn't appear in the front end, right?
Definitely. That's what the meaning of deploy source to an org.
Okay, because I was assuming once it's saved, automatically it will appear in the
No.
front end.
It will not be the case. Okay.
Oh, we have to push, however. Okay.
Yes.
If you have an existing Apex class and you want to update it, do you update it through the Visual Force code and you say you deploy source to org,
Yeah.
or you go through the change set?
There are two options are there. From change set also you can able to deploy. You can push the things to, you can deploy the things using VS code also, and you have and tool also. Using and also you can able to deploy. That is up to the way, how you will be doing. Sometimes, from my personal experience, change set may not help, in many of the times when you have so much of circular references and those kinds of things, change set will hurt a lot. So at that point of time, we used to push, the flows and couple of things we used to push from the VS code itself. The lightning component we used to push from here. So you can make use of all the tools which is convenient to you, right?
Yeah, okay. So now it makes sense, because I always thought it's through change set.
No, there is no mandatory thing that always you have to go with change set. Still, you can go with, by LWC also. You can able to pull everything here locally. What are all the things available with your Salesforce or using our browser, using Metafile, you can able to pull everything locally, and you can do the changes, and you can have your own copy also.
Okay.
Nagaraj,
Yes.
can we change the LWC user interference to the Salesforce interference?
I couldn't get.
See, you in the LWC user interface, backside is color is black, right?
Yes. Still, I haven't applied it, properly. Okay. Just to satisfy the minimum requirement, I have pushed it. Okay. This is a card, right? So the body is also going to happen here. Actually, body in the sense, don't think that the body will be the entire page body. Okay. Actually, the body here is only the LWC component body. This is a component, right? For this component, this will be applied, this body. But what happened? I had a card on top of it, right? I had a card on top of it. The card, covers the entire screen. So no chance for me to see the body.
Can you change it body to black and
yes, you get rid of your card, you could able to see that. Okay.
Hi, sir,
Okay,
and
fine.
one more doubt.
Yes.
And go to the UI page, and once we my doubt is once we deploy it to the arc, every time I go to refresh, right? You told once we enable the debug mode, I have to click the that refresh button or the EPT in the right side.
Yeah, that is that is clearing the cache. Yes, the local cache.
Which I have to use. Both I have to use.
Since you are a developer, it is always better to go with this refresh.
Okay.
Yeah. Since you are a developer, you have the freedom whether to click this button or that button. That doesn't make any difference at all. You could simply click this refresh button.
Then what is the use of that EPT? And
yeah, this is gives you how much memory is being occupied so far, right?
Okay. Once we click the green button, it will clear the cache and
cache.
automatically refresh, right?
Yes.
The same thing happen. Okay.
So yes, Abhinesh. Yeah.
Can we install the latest?
Okay. Okay, fine. So let me stop everyone here. Let me move on a little bit, and then I will take the questions. Okay, I think that will make sense. Okay. So otherwise, it will become a complete Q&A session. Okay. So let me move on a little bit, because I wanted to give you a clear picture a little bit rather than yesterday. Because rather than we had seen yesterday couple of theoretical part and the practical part, I had network issue. My one of my broadband not allowing me to deploy the things to the, because of the proxy, it is not allowing me to deploy the things into the production. So I had some issues. So I connected with a different network today. So I'm going to give it a little bit more clarity way today. So that's why I'm explaining the things again. So no one should mess up with the basic things, how to create a component, how to deploy. And this is a there is a Salesforce tag already existing. You are make use of it. You can call it as an element. It is already existing. It is a property. We will see in HTML topics, we will see what is meant by attribute and those things. Okay. So after developing the things, you are trying to deploy your code to an org. So your destination, this is your source, this is your destiny. Your destiny may be your developer org, it may be a sandbox. If it is a sandbox, it is a test.salesforce.com. There is a spell typo error is there, login.salesforce. It can be a developer, it can be a production. We already seen this. Now here comes the next picture. What is meant by dev hub and what is a scratch org? As I already told, in a real-time environment, you will be having the sandbox, you will be creating the component here, you will be testing it, and again, you will be pushing the things to your production once everything is fine. Okay. So as a developer, okay, if you want to don't disturb your developer org, still you wanted to test the component in your own space, in the sense you can go for a scratch org. That is called a scratch org. From where the scratch org will be gets created, this is my developer org. This is called dev hub. This is called dev hub. Initially in the PDF, you might have enabled the dev hub, right? So how you will enable the dev hub? You will be go to the setup, and in the setup, you will be going for the dev hub. You will be typing in the home search. You will be going for a dev hub. You will be going for a dev hub here. You'll be going for a dev hub, dev space hub. Okay. Once you click this dev hub, there is an option called enable dev hub. Here you have to enable this. This enabling dev hub option allows you to create a scratch org for you, to create a scratch org. Scratch org is nothing. You are having your developer org. Inside a developer org, you are allocating a small space. You are allocating a small space for the scratch org. Please mute yourselves. Okay. So inside your developer org, you are allocating a small space for this component development and testing with own data. Okay, you don't want to disturb the existing data with your own data. If that is the case, you will be going for scratch org. Okay. So dev hub, it is the main Salesforce org which is allow you to create the scratch org. What is a scratch org? It is a disposable Salesforce org. Okay, it is a disposable in the sense anytime it can be removed or it can be dropped. Okay, so that is called the scratch org. By default, a scratch org will have a lifetime of 7 to 30 days by default, and then it will automatically expire. You have to drop it, you have to delete it. So probably just creating the component only, you will be using the scratch org. You will not do all your development stuff, everything in the scratch org. So that's why you may not need 30 days in the sense to develop a scratch org. Otherwise, if you want one more scratch org, you can create. How many scratch org I can able to create in the developer org? Still maximum 5 scratch org at a time you can able to create in your dev hub, in your development org. Okay, how I can able to see whether the scratch org is available or not? Okay, in the app launcher, this is the app launcher. Okay, in the app launcher, if you click there, if you start typing scratch org, you see here active scratch org. You could able to see the active scratch org here. Okay, so there are no active scratch org here. If you created an active scratch org, you could able to see all the scratch org information right over here. Currently there is no scratch org involved with my org, my currently dev hub. Okay, so that is what scratch org. Now let's see how you could able to create a scratch org. So to create a scratch org, the first step is you have to enable dev hub. Yes, I'm done with the first point. Okay, and then in the VS Code, you have to create a project with manifest. Already a project is available. Okay, in the manifest file, so I'm coming here. I have my project. Now I wanted to deploy this component to my scratch org, not to my developer org. I wanted to push it into my scratch org. I want to create a scratch org. I want to test it. So first step, what you have to do is whenever you created a project, in the left hand side, you are having a folder option called config. If you open it, so in under config, you could able to see project scratch org definition JSON. This is a configuration file. If you clicked it, you could be able to see, some scratch org configuration. When you are trying to create a scratch org, all the configurations will be took from this scratch org, and based on this, the scratch org will be gets created. Currently, if you are going to create a scratch org, the basic objects will be available with your scratch org. You will be having account, you will be having contact, you will be having opportunity, but no data will be available for you. No sample data will be available for you. If you wanted to have a sample data in your scratch org, you have to change this configuration. So the configuration is, it's a key value pair, has sample data. Has sample data, it's a Boolean variable. So you have to do here true. It means that when you are trying to create a scratch org, this configuration file will be read by the Salesforce CLI, and it will try to create a scratch arc. At that point of time, it will create the scratch arc with sample data. Otherwise, you will have your objects, but the objects will not have any sample data to test. So that's why you are giving that option as sample data. Okay, I'm going to create my scratch arc. Okay, I wanted to give some name for my scratch arc. If that is the case, you can change this demo company. Okay, my scratch arc. Okay, so I'm simply going to give scratch arc 1. I'm going to give simply the name scratch arc 1. My configuration is ready. Okay, my configuration is ready. I have configured the things. Okay, fine. Now next up, I have to authorize my dev hub. So initially you have authorized your developer org. Now you are going to authorize your dev hub. Both the things are same. Okay, it is, you are going to authorize your dev hub using the same username and password, your developer org username and password. But you need to authorize the dev hub, then only it will allow you to create a scratch arc. I'm going for Control Shift P. I'm going for authorize a scratch org, authorize a dev hub first. So I'm going for authorize a dev hub. So then only you will be going for create a default scratch arc. So first you are going for authorize a dev hub. So let me try to run this command. Okay, so it will be running again. It will be trying to open the same browser to log in. Okay, meanwhile let me explain the PDF. Okay, so it's so fast. Okay, fine. Okay, I'm going to authorize my dev hub. Let's see my dev hub is authorized or not. Yes, successfully ran. My dev hub authorized. If you have a look at this, okay, see here, still my my developer org alias is there. There is no, additionally there is no new dev hub information has been entered here. Okay, so I have authorized my dev hub. Still I have authorized my dev hub. Let me go to the terminal. Let me come to the terminal. I'm going to hit this command. I'm going to give this CLI command, sfdx force or list. Let me see what the things is coming up. It will try to run the CLI command. It will try to connect with your org. Okay, so now you could able to see, see still the same is being displayed here, because your developer org and your dev hub, both the things are same. So you will not get any more extra entry in the org list. Okay, so authorize the dev hub is done. Next, create a default scratch org. I'm trying to create a default scratch org. Now, when creating the scratch arc, this configuration will be read by the CLI and it will try to create a scratch arc for you. I'm going for, okay, create a scratch arc, default scratch arc. I'm trying to create. Okay, see there, immediately it is asking where is the configuration file. I'm going to have the configuration file under config folder. I don't want to change anything, so I'm simply press enter. And it is asking, enter an alias name for your scratch arc. Enter your alias name for your scratch arc. I'm giving scratch arc 1. Okay, I'm giving scratch arc 1. So this is my alias name for my scratch arc. How you did the alias name for your, when authorizing the developer arc, you are doing the same thing. Next, it will ask you how many days you wanted to have this scratch arc. Okay, because it will definitely going to occupy the memory allotted by you. Okay, unnecessarily having a space allotted for your scratch arc will not help me at all, right? So by default, it will be available for you from 7 to 30 days or 1 to 30 days. Minimum you can go for 7. Probably you will building a component at least 7 days, right? You will not have a take a time of 30 days to build a component, right? Probably when you are when you are being part of the scrum call, you will be getting the instruction what is going on here. Within 2 days you have to complete this component. That's it. You will not take a 30 days time. Okay, so probably I'm going for maximum 30. How many days this scratch arc will live in your developer org? I'm going for 30. Now my scratch arc will be created. What will happen? A new space will be created for me inside my developer org. That is called scratch arc with some sample data in it. At any point of time, I can connect with this. I can deploy my component to it. I can test it. Once I am satisfied with the things, I can push my component from the scratch arc to the destination. the destination may be my, my developer org, or the destination might be my, production environment, whatever it may be. So let it try to, create the scratch org. So meanwhile, yeah, it's created. Okay, fine. It gets created. The scratch org gets created. Okay. Next, couple of points to be noted here. My scratch org gets created. I am done. Immediately see here at the bottom, I am connected with my scratch org. I am connected with my scratch org. You could able to see there. Okay, let me click this. Now I am seeing two alias name. One is with my production, sorry, one is with my developer org, and another one is with my scratch org. See in the right hand side, there is a random username has been created. So whenever you are going to create a scratch org, your own Salesforce org, it is automatically giving a username for you. Okay, so that is called test hyphen something. Randomly it is creating something, and there is no, there is no, manual username like, my name I have given nagaraj@playground.com. It is not going to be here. If that is the case, still you can create. Okay, you have to do some more configuration, or using Salesforce CLI, you can create the scratch org. At that point of time, you can give the username. So because we are in the beginning stage, don't make the things, messy around. So I'm going to simply stick on to the existing things. A scratch org gets created automatically. My VS Code connected with my scratch org. Now I'm trying to deploy the component to the scratch org. I'm trying to deploy the component to the scratch org. If I go for deploy, I will not able to find a deploy source to org option anymore, because your VS Code is not connected with your developer edition. It is not connected with your production environment. Now it is connected with a scratch org. If you are connected with a scratch org, now you will have the option called push source to default scratch org. There is no deploy source to org. Okay, both the things are same. Okay, but the words are a little bit different. Now it is making you that you are going to push the source to the default scratch org. I am not going to push anything to my default scratch org. First, I am going to have a look and feel how my scratch org looks like. I am going to click this button to open the scratch org. Let me try to open the scratch org, and I will compare the scratch org with my existing developer org. Okay, let's have the comparison there. First difference you could able to see, this is my developer org. Used this developer org, I have created a new copy for me, that is scratch org. This developer org domain name you see there, nagaraj-playground. This is a scratch org you have created. See there, it is having a different domain name. So it is a proof that it has created a separate scratch org for you. It created a separate space for you. If I am going for, let's go for the default, applications. I'm trying to open sales. I'm trying to open sales. I could able to see the, objects available there. Let me go for accounts. Let me go for accounts. I'm going for all accounts. Okay, I'm having some default data for the testing purpose. I could able to see some default data for the testing purpose. If you have, created your scratch org without line number 5, has sample data true, without this line number 5, if you created the scratch org, you could able to see the objects, but if you click all accounts, no accounts will be available for you. So that's why to create the scratch org, if you want the data, you can configure before creating the scratch org. Please configure your JSON file with has sample data is equal to true. Okay, so this is my scratch org created for me. No need to give any password. Okay, when I click this particular icon, automatically it takes me to the scratch org. Next difference, this is my developer org. Now I'm going to check how many scratch org are available. So I'm going to check. Okay, scratch org, active scratch org. I'm going for active scratch org. See, there is one entry created. You have created a scratch org, right? So you have created a scratch org. The org name is scratch org 1. Now you could able to see there in the object. Okay, there is a scratch org gets created. Let's open it and see what are the technical information available there. I'm trying to open it. Okay, see here. Cool. I can able to see my scratch org ID. What is my org ID? Newly created scratch org ID. I could able to see what is the active days, 30 days. Okay, and what is the expiration date is also there, and importantly you could able to see the username also. There is nowhere you could able to see the password. There is nowhere you could able to see the password. Remaining things are there. Whether you could able to edit any of the things, only description is editable. Nothing you can able to change. Okay, nothing you can able to change here. Only description only you can able to see. So to view all the available scratch orgs, you can go for a scratch org. I don't want this scratch org. Okay, by mistake I have created, or no more, I don't want this scratch org to get occupied my space. If that is the case, I can go for this arrow mark and I can go for delete. This scratch arc will be deleted automatically. The scratch arc deletion you could do from the command line also. From here also, by issuing some Salesforce command, CLI command, you could still delete that. But still we are in the beginning stage. I don't want to go for a lot of SFDX commands. Okay, we will do as the days goes on. So you can able to delete. If you can able to go for edit, in the sense only description, you can able to delete. So this is my developer org, and this is my scratch org. Let me try to go to the home page and see whether I am having the same component. Already you see here, this is your developer org. In your developer org, you have pushed the component, right? Your component is available here. Now I am with the scratch org. I am trying to edit the page. I am unable to see the component in the home page. Let me go for edit page and let's see whether the component is available or not. Okay, there is no component exist. It is a copy of your developer org, but still only objects with minimum data will be gets created. No component will be automatically available for you with your scratch org. Okay, so to make the things, to make the component now available for my scratch org, what I have to do, I have to again go for push source to default scratch org. Now I am trying to push the source, push the LWC component to my scratch org. Let me try to run. It is trying to push the things to my scratch org. Once it is done, I will refresh my scratch org and I will see whether the component is available in my scratch org or not. Okay, it is pushed, successfully pushed. Now come to my scratch org. You could able to see at the top, it is my scratch org. Let me refresh this page and see, reload it, and whether see, no, I am available with my component in the scratch org or not. Let me go for standard. Now I could able to see my component available in my scratch org. Okay, if I want to use it in my scratch org, what I will be doing, I will be drag and drop, I will place it here. I could able to see there. I'm going for the save. Okay, first time I'm going to save this page with my component place. So it is asking me to activate. I'm going for activate. Okay, once you are going for activate, first time it will ask you to assign org default. I wanted to make this page available to all the users, so I'm going to make it as a org default, org level default. So I'm clicking this button. Okay, what are the profiles you are going to have? You can set it separately also. I'm going to set it common for everyone. So I'm going to save this. Now if I go back to my scratch org home page, I could able to see the component available there in my scratch org. Now I am able to push the component to my developer org, as well as I can able to push my component to the scratch org. In real-time environment, you think the scratch org is your sandbox. You will be pushing the component to your sandbox. You will be doing all the testing. Once the testing is done, now it is time to push the things to your production org. You will be authorize your production org, and simply you will be deploying your component to the production org. Now your component will be available with your production org. After moving to production, some issues happen. You have to change some kind of modifications here. Again, you will become your VS code. You will be changing the things. You will be deploying it to the sandbox first. You will test it. If that bug is cleared, again you will be push the things to your production, and you are too good to go. This is how a development will happen in real time. Okay, so how to open the scratch org, everything is here. You could able to try that. Now the last part. So far I don't know the password for my scratch org. I could able to figure it out. What is my username? I could able to figure it out by going into the object. But instead of that, I'm going like this. sfdx force org list. Again, I'm going with this sfdx command. Okay. Now, if this Salesforce CLI run, you could see here. Let me scroll up a little bit. You could see here. Now, two entries are there. One entry is your developer org, and another one entry is your scratch org. You could see your username, and this is your org ID, and this is your expiration date. Okay, fine. What about this D and U? U means there is automatically, a character will be assigned. U in the sense, this is what your VS Code is currently connected. This is the org you have currently connected. You can confirm that. In the left hand side, see there at the bottom, you see there scratch org one. It means that, here also it is U. It means that currently you are connected with your scratch org. Okay, if you are connected with your developer org, it will be, the U will be here. Instead of D, you will be seeing U here. Then what is the meaning of D? D in the sense, this is your dev hub. It is giving you the hint that this is your dev hub. Okay, in real time, you might be connected with the different orgs. If that is the case, there is a list of orgs might be there. So you might have, yesterday you could see, in my system, there are a lot of orgs there. I cleared everything, okay, to make the things easier. So now you could able to see so many orgs. If that is a point of time, you could able to easily figure it out, which is my connected org, which is my dev hub. You can able to identify easily. In a single point of time, you can connect with a single dev hub only. So that's why you could able to see this D, in a single org alias only. You could able to see the beside a single org alias, you could able to see this D here. Now I know the username. Okay, every time I have to click this, this icon, and I have to open my scratch org. Still, it's available. You can do that. But if you wanted to set a password for your scratch org, you can do that using your sfdx command. Next sfdx command. Okay, so next sfdx command is, you have to go, all the sfdx commands will probably, mostly 100% it will start with the sfdx. The force, sometimes there is no need to give the force, so it is generally start as sfdx force user password generate and -u is the user. Okay, for which one you can give your alias name. So let me copy it. Okay, let me copy the syntax. No need to muck up the things. You can have it in your notepad, and you can use this. Okay, I'm copying it. I'm coming to my developer sorry, VS Code. I'm pasting the thing. Okay, sfdx user password generate -u. Only thing I have to give is I have to use the org alias name. What is my org alias name? That is scratch org one. For this, I'm going to set the password for my scratch org. I'm simply removing it. Okay, I'm pasting it, scratch org. I'm trying to press enter. Now it will try to assign a random password for this particular scratch org. Now the Salesforce CLI will connect with your Salesforce, and it will try to set a password. Okay, so if it is a password, what is it says that scratch org one. Okay, that is fine. Okay, you can go for, is u or -a. Okay, it is -u only. So let me try to with the username. Otherwise, instead of alias name, let me try with username. Okay, instead of alias name u, I'm going for end. I'm just simply clearing this. Let me and test it. Otherwise, still it has generated some error. We will check it out in the internet. No issue that how you could generate a password. Still you have some issue here. Okay, so see more help. Okay, I'm going to see sfdx force user password generate. Simply copy this. It should work. Let me go here. Let me try here. Paste it and see. Generate or change a password. I'm going to the documentation. Okay, how the Salesforce documentation tells you to generate the password. Suppose it should generate the password. sfdx force username password generate, and you are having the target username. Okay, so you are giving it right. Okay, username. Okay, that is fine. That is fine. This is how you are giving the username and password. That's fine. So let's go for this. Generate the password. This is one of the cool GitHub repository. Okay, I will share one GitHub repository. You could able to generate the password here. Let's see. It should generate the password here. When you the username, this is fine. Unexpected argument you.
Double
So,
hyphen.
You
Double
target
hyphen.
username.
okay, but let me check it out. Okay, generate. Let me try with generate. Let me give like this. Maybe target, but simply the target is the alias name you are specifying it. It should come. Okay. So let's see whether it is still we are having okay. SFDX commands.
2 hyphens should we give, Nagra?
Hyphen?
Underscores are
Yeah, it's not underscore. Underscore I had given. Underscore you I had given.
the
This is a
two
tested
underscores has
command.
to be given or what? Here it is showing
Two
as
underscore target username and then
let's try. That will not be the case in the sense. Still, I could see all the commands here. Okay. So if you still have a doubt in the sense you have a default, SFDX, if you give SFDX underscore command, you could be able to see. So you could able to see SFDX commands, all the commands. Let's go with 2 underscore. Okay. Let's go with 2 underscore u underscore u. Okay. Force user password generate, that's fine. Hyphen u. Yeah, still it's hyphen u is there. Hyphen u, you can give
Do you
username
need
and
a
password.
comma?
Whether I am giving
Do we need a
something.
comma after you?
No.
change
This
you
is
to
fine.
target username.
There is no need to give target username. That's what we are giving it here. It will automatically take the alias name or something. It's a tested command only. Still, let's see. The alias name is also there. Okay, you could try there. Okay, I don't want to go for a debate here. You could do here. Otherwise, let me test and I will share what is the username password. It's a tested one. It works for me. I have tested yesterday, so probably it will work. Hyphen u is seriously capital U or small u. It is giving that unexpected argument u. Okay. So probably I might have connected with the scratch arc. So that's why, probably it might be giving some issues. Let me try to change the arc here. Okay. And let me try to do the same thing. Let me now try to switch over to my, developer org. I'm simply selecting this option. I'm going for, changing my org here to my developer org. Okay. Now I have changed it. Let me clear all the things here. Let me clear all the things. CLS, let me clear the screen. Now we will try. So let me try with this. Okay. Well, last try. Otherwise, we will try to find out. Still, we have the issue here. Okay, fine. But I am sure that this will be the case. I have to check that. You could also try to check that whether this is the SFDX command to change the password or not. You could try that. Okay, you try to change the password. Once your password is changed, you could able to see the entire information here. So next command is you can make use of, you can able to see SFDX force display you username. See here whether this command is taking it up or not. So let me try to do that. Okay, not this one. Let me try to copy this. Okay, copy this force user display and let me paste it here. Come on, yeah, clear. Okay, user display. I'm going to give scratch org one. Let me mute. Let me mute. Okay, fine. So let me try to run this command. It should display the user information for this particular scratch org one. Let's see whether hyphen u is working here or not. Okay, so still it is not taking up SFDX force user display.
It's having space for scratch one, right?
Nagaraj,
yes.
Is there any differences between the configuration file name as well as the name we created with the scratch org name? Because in the configuration file,
but when we go for the org list, it is giving the name as a scratch org one, right? So let's check it out that too.
Because in the configuration we have with the space.
But we are dealing with the alias name here, right?
Okay.
See the alias name here, it is scratch. Let's copy paste the alias name right away here. At least the this particular username, it should work. If you give alias name or the scratch arc name, it should work. Let me copy paste from here. Display information should work. Suppose user display, definitely it should display all day. Once you set the password, you could able to set it, give the -u, the alias name or the arc name, you can able to see that. You test it, okay? Otherwise, we will try to fix this, in tomorrow's session. Okay, you guys try this with the same command, or you can able to try to figure it out the way. So definitely it will work. So let's see this. So far, any queries in the sense you can go for it.
Nagarajan, these commands are